This is the story of Daniel Buster, a freed slave that came to be part of the California Gold Rush. He arrived in Mokelumne Hill, just south of Jackson, in the early 1850s. Daniel Buster was a frugal and temperate man. He mined successfully on his claim until it was worked out. He accumulated a sizable fortune in gold during this time. Enough to loan $10,000 to a local doctor, which was later repaid in gold coins. Once his claim was worked out completely, he moved to San Antone Camp, near what is now known as San Andreas. The date of his arrival was not recorded, but he rented a cabin near Frank Cuneo's store. He was a quiet and reserved man. He began his new claim and called it Buster's Gulch. His success in finding gold made him very well known. He often visited Frank Cuneo's store and eventually gained enough trust to allow Frank to weigh his gold. Exactly how much gold Frank weighed for Daniel Buster is unknown, but Frank spoke of large amounts that were increasing with every time Buster paid a visit. In the end, Frank Cuneo estimated it was nearly $40,000 total that Buster had accumulated. The guess was that he had about 200 pounds of gold. There were no banks or safe deposit boxes in the mining camp yet, so the only safe way to protect the gold was to bury it. Allegedly, Buster buried his gold in old Dutch ovens, somewhere near his old cabin. Lawlessness was free-flowing in those days. One night, in 1881, while Buster was returning from his cache, a pair of camp dwellers approached Buster. They came up on him with a knife and forced him into his cabin. They threatened to kill him if he didn't release the location of his buried gold. Nearby miners heard the men's shouts and curses, and rushed to Buster's aid. Upon investigation, the two would-be thieves were caught red-handed and sentenced to 50 lashes and banished from camp with the threat of being hanged if they ever returned. Roughly 1 year later, during a storm, a miner named McCoy summoned men from a nearby saloon, who ran into the cabin again in Buster's aid. The same two men were making a second attempt on Daniel Buster's life in a re-attempt to locate his buried gold. Buster was bound with rope, and the two men were torturing him, as well as burning the bottoms of his feet on the stove to force him to release the location of his treasure trove. There was a brief trial held in a nearby saloon, and when the two prisoners were identified as the same two men who committed an offense a year earlier, they were both sentenced to death. At daylight, ropes were thrown over the limb of a nearby oak tree. The two men who were threatened by this sentence only 1 year prior, were hanged by the neck until death did them part, and were buried only a few yards from where they committed their crimes. Daniel Buster died in February 1863, probably never recovering from his injuries. His death brought on an intense search for his hidden gold. Word soon spread of the hidden treasure and people flocked in from all over the camp and beyond. Between the locals and visitors, there were hundreds of people searching for the lost gold. Some thought it was buried beneath Buster's cabin. And in turn, his cabin was torn down and the dirt was dug up below and around it. A couple of men started a sluicing operation at the cabin site, slowly going through all of the dirt searching for a sign of the gold. Then a rumor was started where Buster had hidden his gold in charcoal pits. This then led to all of the nearby and surrounding pits to be thoroughly searched for the gold. Since Buster's death, over 161 years ago, people have employed everything from picks and shovels, to the services of modern physics and even metal detectors. They have all sought his buried treasure without success. Legend has it that Buster was asked by Frank Cuneo what he planned on doing with his gold, and Buster replied, "It ain't ever gonna do no white man any good." Today people are still searching places like San Antonio Creek, and the area surrounding where Buster's old cabin used to be. Today Buster's lost gold is valued at more than $1.3 million in gold coin and nuggets. Special thanks to the Facebook group, Gold Country Adventure and Exploration for sharing this amazing story from the California Sesquicentennial newspaper from the California Gold Rush. Who knows, maybe someday it will be found. Or maybe old Daniel Buster had a hiding spot so good it will never be found. As always, thanks for watching. Leave a comment and share this video with others who may enjoy it.